Thanks everybody for coming out. It's a really exciting time. This is a huge conference. And thanks for finding the stage, because I think that wasn't necessarily easy. I'm super excited today to be talking with Gracie Chen of BitGet and Irene Zhao. Let's get started. And I just want to talk a little bit about
How are you guys?
How things may have changed for women in crypto from pre-pandemic to now. And of course, the pandemic times also included the huge run-up, Bitcoin to 69,000, lots of enthusiasm. So a lot changed in crypto. But did anything change for women from, say, 2019 till now in terms of opportunities, in terms of how many are in the industry? So Irene, do you want to start? Oh.
Thank you for the question. But I guess my personal experience is more towards the fact that the crypto industry or the Web3 industry as a whole, we are so mobile. Like we all work remotely, and that's very adaptive in terms of this pandemic or post-pandemic period. So the fact that women might spend more time in family, and yet we can empower those women who need more time to spend with their family or as well as working together. And the fact that this industry is a very remote driven kind of working style, I think that's really cool, and that's what I really love about our industry. Yeah, I guess that's something I observed through the pandemic. But along the way, within maybe past 5 years or 10 years, women have more say in working space. We see a lot of more growth in terms of like women who are interested in STEM projects. And that's a general trend, not really affected a lot by the pandemic. That's basically my opinion.
Okay. Thank you.
Actually, I got into crypto earlier last year. So, like, pandemic already started. So I would just say, oh, Annabelle's here.
Hey.
Yeah. So I got into crypto earlier last year where, pandemic already started. To be honest, earlier last year, there are not many females in the crypto space. And that's why I can say that gender really helps me a lot to get really started in the crypto space, because I came from a creator background. I have been a creator for the past 6 years. Now I have about 500,000 followers across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. But when I just started, which is last year, there are not many female in the space. And I came in as a CMO of a DeFi project. And I was the one who is talking about DeFi protocols, doing all the AMAs on Twitter and on YouTube with a lot of influencers. And people find it quite fascinating that they really rarely see many female in the crypto space. But I think because of the NFT hype, which happened about like July, when Visa just bought their first CryptoPunk, NFT got really, really popular. And from that, I see a lot of females coming into the Web3 space. And I have a lot of like female KOLs, have my female friends who said, oh, how can I get into Web3? So excited. So even though we are still in a bear market, but I feel like people are so excited. You look at how many people come in for the crypto events. And I feel like social media is really going to bring mass adoption to the crypto space.
Okay, great. And welcome Annabelle, who fought off the F1 road closures to be here. So we're just talking about what's changed for women in crypto in, say, the past 3 years. So maybe pre-pandemic to now.
Yeah, sure. And apologies for being late. I literally ran 100 meters fighting off the F1 road closures. But I think that that goes to say how incredibly popular and crowded this conference stage is. And it's great to see everybody here in Singapore. We moved here last year, sort of in the middle of the pandemic, and before then we were in Hong Kong. And I think back to your question, I think for the first maybe 2 years, we're all working virtually. We're talking to each other on Twitter, on Discord, on Telegram, and I think that actually gave a lot of opportunities for everybody to participate. You didn't need to be a so-called crypto participant, right? There are so many new ways of entering into the space. So I actually had a female intern who was born probably after 2000s, and she joined me remotely over last summer. And I was able to do a lot of research for us, and now she's fully integrated into the community. And I think this would have been difficult if this sort of virtual community wasn't even more prompted by the pandemic and the way we interact with each other. And I think just in terms of how the market grew, we are a more of a financial service provider within crypto, and then we just saw the influx of capital that came in through the pandemic on the back of easy money and all of the different policies. But I think this wave of bull market also attracted so many talents, be it female or male, into the space, and I think we are seeing the results of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. And so I'm interested to hear where you all think that women are making the most gains and where there's kind of the most ground to make up. I know, Irene, you mentioned Web3. So are there any specific areas where a lot of women have come in, or maybe areas where they're not as prevalent?
I think the main barriers of entry for Web2 people to get into Web3 space is the accessibility. Because there are so many crypto jargons that are so difficult to understand, like layer 2, DeFi, ZK rollup, and it's super difficult for the Web2 people to understand. And therefore, I think if we can make the concept super simple for people to understand, we can make the platform very easy to use. And this is what we do at Soko. We are trying to build a super easy to use interface for the Web2 social media influencers to get into the Web3 space by create their own NFTs collections. And just by a click of a button, they can create their own NFTs and then can engage with their followers.
Oh, great. Gracie, what do you think?
I think, for example, in Biget, actually we are a very women-driven kind of leadership company. You probably won't believe that we have actually more women in the leadership role than men. And we have women working as CEO, CMO, and CPO, P for product, M for marketing. These are all women. Of course, we have a lot of men in the team as well, but we are very in terms of the ratio of the gender, we are very neutral. I guess that's one gain I can see from the space. But I do see a lack of women in especially STEM, science, technology, and mathematics kind of role, or the industrial discipline. I actually studied at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and that's as all you all know, it's a famous university full of technology and scientists. So I see much more men in the STEM space than women. I myself studied applied mathematics here in Singapore, in the National University of Singapore. And when I was studying applied mathematics, the ratio of women to men is about 2 to 8. So I think we need more women, especially in the STEM industry or STEM discipline.
Makes sense. And Annabelle, where are you seeing it?
Well, I guess I have to agree with both of you. A little bit about myself. Also studied math at Carnegie Mellon, which is also very, I would say, male-dominated university. It's changing now, though. I think the newest class has 50% of female enrollment, which is a very different stats from when I was there. And then I went into traditional finance, and investment banks is also the same. If you look at the trading floor, the MDs of the banks, oftentimes there's lack of female representation and even lack of role model, to say the least. And I think that's partly what inspired me to maybe pursue something that's in emerging tech, that's newer. There's more level playing field in terms of, you don't need to be, how old it doesn't matter how old you are, if you're men or women, and what you did before, it's a new thing. So everybody had an opportunity. So we saw that maybe in the last 2-3 cycles for crypto, and then I think over the last 2 to 3 years in the new cycle, then of course there are more and more participants, more and more capital, and I think a lot of us are trying to build the easy to use UI UX to onboard more people. And this is, again, the open access that Irene was talking about and I was talking about earlier, maybe from different perspective, different audience. But whether influencers or people just looking to trade crypto or to have exposure as a term of an investment, I think this is very important, and we're still very early. And I don't think we're Web3 yet, right? This is a very commonly used term, but we're somewhere in between, and there's so much to be done. But it's good, at least all of us are doing it now, all of us here. Grace, Irene, yourself as well. And I think having this more female representation will inspire more women to join the space, and having open access will naturally include more people. So as an example, we recently opened up a JV in Dubai. So for Middle East, a lot of women are not allowed to even have a bank account. And what they did is, for their so-called allowance, they actually used that to buy into crypto, buy into Bitcoin over the years. So they actually achieved the sort of dollar cost averaging over the years, and they're long-term hodlers, and now they have actually accumulated quite a fortune. But now they can very easily onboard an account at Amber, at Big Gat or elsewhere, right, and can continue to manage their wealth that way. And this is, I guess, the most sort of shocking yet heartwarming thing that I see.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because I did chemistry as an undergrad at Cornell University, and it was the same thing where there were not that many women. And so crypto is kind of coming back to that. It's just like, oh, I remember this type of thing.
I just want to add one more point. I think NFT really helps to get a lot of women into the Web3 space. Because last year, like DeFi, GameFi was so popular, but most of girls, they don't really play around with finance products, and they don't really play games. But every girl use social media platforms, and we can see a lot of my girlfriends are changing their profile picture into those NFT avatars. And it's so exciting because they don't really know what is crypto, but they know it's NFT, and they're very excited to try all these kind of new things. I feel like NFT is really the best way to get like mass adoption for crypto. But after that, people get into space and learn what is NFT, what is like DeFi, what is GameFi. Just like NFT is the best stepstone for people, for girls especially, to get into Web3 space.
Nice. So, Gracie, you recently wrote something about why it would be good for more women to be in crypto. So do you want to talk a little bit about what you did?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I wrote an op-ed for Focus. It's another crypto media, published about 1 month ago. So we actually examined, firstly, the profile of the current crypto adopters. So that profile looks pretty much like a guy, and from 25 or like 22 to 49, usually with a bachelor degree of IT-related discipline. So that's the general profile of our industry. And then we examined what are the reasons preventing more women entering the space, especially the leadership role. Firstly, there is a lack of confidence. So a lot of time that, just like what we observed in STEM discipline that we were discussing, a lot of people think, a lot of women think we can't do it. I myself experienced that a bit while doing my bachelor degree here, studying applied mathematics. Because all those guys, they just don't study and they can get straight A all the way. And I'm immersed in my central library all the time, yet I still just get like A- or something. So I feel that I'm not smart enough. I think that's really a very important perspective that is preventing us or keeping us from studying more about these subjects. And then even if with confidence, maybe these 3 women or these 4 women standing on the stage, we are the so-called confident women in a way in this space. There are still a lot of stereotypes outside there. So for example, when I was raising money for my previous company, doing a round A VC, and actually there is a venture capitalist talk to me saying directly that we just don't invest in women who are married but do not have child yet. And that's what I was in terms of the life stage at that time. I think that's really a slap in the face that there is such a strong stereotype in terms of women giving birth or raising up a child, and they just can't do their work properly. So all these reasons contribute to what we are observing right now, but I see a lot of improvement and growth within the past few years as well.
Okay, so well, let's focus on kind of the improvement and growth part of that. And where do you think it's an advantage to be a woman in crypto?
What's your thought?
Okay, actually, when Gracie talks about the stereotypes and like people's perception about women, I feel like it's really unfair in the crypto Twitter because I have been a crypto like KOL for the past 2 years, and when I just started, people are questioning, is Irene Zhao even a real person? They feel like I am like some man use my pictures without me knowing it and write all the captions for me on Twitter. They literally like even the CEO, like of a very famous VC, and even a lot of big names in the crypto space, they keep questioning like, are you a real person? Did someone write your tweets? Or like, is someone like use your pictures? I have know nothing about crypto. So I feel like this is really the stereotypes men have about women in crypto space. They just feel like women cannot be pretty and smart at the same time. It's like they're mutually exclusive. Either you are smart or you are pretty. You can't be both. And I think like really the industry needs to have like a new perception about we are really comfortable, like confident, capable, and beautiful women in the space.
I love that.
Love that too. Yeah, back to Joanna's question. I actually love the fact that I'm a woman, and I think in terms of working space, I do find the fact that soft skills or softness is actually the hardest part or the strongest part of our power. And I sometimes feel the combination of like within the deeper heart or the emotional part, you are more of a female-driven kind of empathetic person and has a big heart for everyone. While at the same time, you are very straightforward. You can make good decisions. The combination of the soft power and the strong power makes me a whole person, and that's what I love for being a woman. But I guess men share that similarities as well. So there are usually just too much stereotypes, and once we can break those stereotypes, I think the world is much better, and empowering women helps men as well.
Good point.
Yeah,
Annabelle.
I would say I think have a very diverse leadership team is very important. And I think it wasn't really obvious to me because, like I said before, and in the banks and a lot of the tech firms, most of the senior leadership is men, and I think that's sort of a norm. But then them being in different situations, or even myself having to come to leadership positions, and then I think you do see that diversity in how it plays out into managing a company or a project or inspiring a community, and that itself is important. And I think I make a point to hiring more women, not just for the sake of hiring women, because they're all incredibly smart, beautiful, and capable women, and they've done great things for the firm, but also because you need a diverse team to maybe on the sales side, you have to cater to a very diverse group of clients. On the other management type roles, you also need to hear different voices, because we're still in a fast evolving industry, and every decision you make could be life or death at some point, right? And you need to consider all outcomes, all of the different concerns. And when it comes to managing a company now, we're at almost, I think, 1,000 people, and you need that. You need that diversity and inclusiveness for the sake of building a better company, not for the sake of filling some quota and whatnot. But I think successful leadership teams and successful companies are the ones that actually are diverse, and we're half of that equation. So, like Irene said, right, women get things done, and don't be shy about it.
So, Irene, I am kind of curious. How do you deal with people? Like, if somebody says, "Are you a real person?" Can you actually be smart? And
I would go online, do live AMAs. Then the hater's gonna say, just an AI, you are not a real person. The hater's gonna hate, but the people who love you, they just gonna support you. And I think it's good like occasion that all of the great women can come to the stage, talk in front of so many people to show that our vision, to show that we have the capability to like do what we are good at. I think this is really a great chance for us to come together.
Oh, great. Yeah. And it's good we're all talking about this. So that's pretty amazing that you've been dealing with that. So I guess Gracie and Annabelle, kind of, I guess, in more traditional roles, do you see a lot of times where people kind of assume that you can't do something? And how do you deal with that? Do you just kind of prove them wrong, or do you say something?
I mean, sadly, that happens a lot still. I think when I first entered the space 4 years ago until now, it still happens. But I think what changes maybe my reaction to it. Now I think you just show them what you can do, right? And they'll realize what you can do. Before, I think, I don't know, especially for Asian women who have the luxury or advantage of looking a bit younger than we are, and we oftentimes consider maybe less than what we are, and it is important to talk about this type of stereotype, but it's also important to show the world what we can do. We're here talking about it, and I think crypto, Web3 are able to bring all of us together from different backgrounds. We're building so many different things before, and we probably have never met in real life otherwise, but this brought us together and brings us perspectives. And then we have a strong community of women out there showing everybody that we are capable of what we're doing here. And I think people see that. And I think it inspires women, it inspires men, and it shows hopefully everybody here at the conference and virtually. So I think it is really about just showing them what you can do. And I think all of us have come a long way. So
yeah.
I totally agree with Annabella in terms of showing what you are capable of. So one thing that drove me into studying applied mathematics is actually in my high school. That's the best high school in my town. And a lot of guys were saying that women just can't study math. And I love math, and I proved to them. And then, like MIT, it's one of the top universities. I wanted to go to that university a long time ago, and it's until I reached my 30, not young anymore, but I still decide to pursue a master's degree over there and prove myself. And also back to the previous example I gave about raising fund. So I had my child, and so I have a 3.5-year-old boy right now. So after having my child, and actually before having that child, I just like continue raising the fund and get the money, get shit done, and move on. Yeah, so make achievements and proof that you are capable is also is basically very important. But I think one more step further is to build a community to empower more women. So before joining Bigot, I initiated a women kind of empowerment program under the World Economic Forum Global Shapers community. So it's a program called She Shapes. So from the name, you can tell that we get a lot of women together and mentor-mentee program, so that we have this strong, very ambitious women here together in the community, and we empower each other when we have some difficulties in terms of life, in terms of working, in terms of your next job, in terms of whatever industry, we talk about them. So on the individual level, we prove ourselves. On the community level, we get together like what we have done here to support each other. I think that's what we should do.
And I just wanted to add that back to your earlier question, what is the advantage of being women is because we work so hard, we prove ourselves. And I think for everybody who's into this industry now probably had to go through slightly more hurdles. And now we got here, and I would say, most of the women I meet in the industry are exceptionally talented, maybe for that reason. So yeah, I think hopefully at some point we can stop proving ourselves for the sake of that, and just having everybody treating us on equal ground. But in the same time, right, we need to bring more women into space. But I think talking about community, having different groups, I think we're all very active in that regard. We have the same goal, and I think I'm just very hopeful.
Nice.
I just want to add one more point. I think, right, we don't really need to go work so hard to change people's perception. We just need to be there, shine, and we'll be role models in the industry to inspire more women to get into the crypto space. For example, I created Irene DAO, which is the first ever creator DAO in the crypto space. And there's so many female KOLs DM me say, oh, I also want to get into crypto space. I also want to launch of NFTs. I haven't done it before. I don't know it can actually be done by a creator. So it's really just do it. And then you can inspire thousands or even millions of females to get into the industry.
Nice.
And you just provide the easier use tool for them to also get into NFTs to create their own versions of Irene DAOs. Yeah.
Great. So we're getting short on time. So I guess one last thing, since we have the power panel here, what gets each of you excited about crypto right now? I know we're in crypto winter. People are talking about how, this is the time when builders are building, but, Bitcoin is below 20,000 and all that. So, but what do you think has a lot of potential or is really exciting right now, Annabelle?
This is something we think about a lot. It's not the first time that we're going through bear or winter like this. So, and we are seeing a lot of teams building, and that brings a lot of hope for what comes the next cycle. So out of our venture side, we are looking to meet a lot of the early stage teams. I think building a lot of areas, either that we're familiar ourselves, maybe more around the financial applications, or even around GameFi or SocialFi, whatever that's going to bring more users the next route. And of course, on the infrastructure level, what needs to be built for all of that to be possible, right? How does a billion user come in? So I think all these categories, so from infrastructure to midware, all the way to application level, that we are either building ourselves or want to empower other teams to build. And I actually kind of like this time a little better. There's no more crazy hype. Valuation makes sense. People are more, head down, building community, building the product. And I think there's going to be a lot of surprises that come our way when the market comes back.
Nice. Gracie.
I think this is like a golden window right now in the winter as well as in the bearish market. For example, we see a lot of other exchanges because Bitget is an exchange, by the way. It's one of the top global top 5 derivative exchange ranked by CoinGecko, and also Forbes ranked us in top 5 in terms of the trading volume of real Bitcoin trading as well. So as an exchange, there are a lot of other exchanges doing hiring freeze or job cutting, but we are doing serious expansion right now. During the June this year, we only have 500 people, and that's when we announced our expansion plan in terms of recruiting more people. Now we have 800, and we target to hit 1,000 at the end of this year. So during this bearish market, we are actually recruiting a lot of talents. So any of you, if you're interested in joining an exchange, talk to me after this.
Nice.
So that's one thing we are very excited. We really want to be even top in terms of exchange, in terms of recruiting more talents. And another thing I'm excited about is a concept which is called social trading. On the same stage, later in the afternoon, I'm going to talk more about social trading and what we do at Bitget. Come back at 2 p.m., I think 2 to 2:30. Sorry for embedding this advertisement here. But we're going to talk about social trading. And social trading is a very different concept, and you probably haven't heard of it a lot, at least in our crypto space, but it's been a while for traditional financial market already. But that's a very major differentiation factor of Bitget from other exchanges.
Okay.
So we're excited about that concept.
Nice. Irene.
We have seen DeFi and GameFi in the last few years, but not everyone knows how to use a financial product. Not everyone likes to play games, but I think everyone wants to social. And I feel like social fund is really the key to bring mass adoption to crypto. But we really haven't seen a killer app in the Web3 social space yet. And therefore, like SoCo, we are trying to be the next killer app in the Web3 social space. So what we do is we help all the creators to build their own kinds of DAO, to build their own NFT projects on us with just a click of a button. It's just so simple to use. And we made it, we're gonna launch our platform really soon in 2 weeks' time. We hope everyone can come and try SoCo and probably launch your own project on our platform.
Wow. Sounds good. Okay, I think we need to leave it there. Annabelle, Gracie, Irene, thank you so much. Alan, back to you.